Hi, my name is Prince Cero, and I am here to talk about linguistic stylistic. First, what is linguistic stylistic? Linguistic stylistic is a field of study within linguistics that focuses on language use and stylistic features in written or spoken text. It involves the study of how language is used to create specific effects or convey particular meaning and how different linguistic choices can affect the overall tone, style, and impact of a text. Linguistic stylistic is concerned with the use of language in literary and non-literary text, including poetry, fiction, journalist, advertising, political discourse. It examines the use of literary devices such as metaphor, simile, allusion, symbolism, as well as the use of rhetorical strategies such as repetition, parallelism, and irony. Thank you.
So the theory related to linguistic stylistics is foregrounding theory. So what is foregrounding theory? To begin with, foregrounding has three morphemes, namely for, ground, and the suffix ign. The for and ground are free morphemes because they can appear on their own or they can stand alone with a specific meaning. According sa PPT namin, foregrounding theory is a concept within stylistics and literary studies that refers to the use of linguistic or literary features in a text that deviate from the norms of everyday language use. These features can be used by authors to create specific effects or draw attention to the language itself as an object of study. Foregrounding theory involves highlighting linguistic features to draw the reader's attention to particular aspects of a text. For example, in a poem, an author may use alliteration or assonance to emphasize certain words, making them stand out from the rest of the text. Similarly, a writer may place emphasis on the character's emotion through the use of metaphors or symbolic language. This technique is often employed to create a more vivid and powerful reading experience and to convey deeper meaning or resonance within the text. So, pagdating naman po sa literature, ang literature for grounding is the most readily identified linguistic deviation or yung pinakamadaling matukoy or yung pinakalumilitaw from the given literary traditions from one or more general world of knowledge. Ito daw po of rules and mention which done by a poet. It transcommunicative resources and awakens the reader from overused stuff. So, ano nga ba yung purpose ng foregrounding? So, the purpose of foregrounding is to sharpen the reader's vision that the author wants to point out to give clarity. So, ang layunin daw po ng foregrounding theory is patalasin ang pananaw o pag-unawa ng mambabasa sa kaganapan, damdamin, pangyayari, konsepto o iba pang gusto o nais ipahiwatig ng may akda. So, magbibigay po ako ng example ng foregrounding. So, tulad nga po ng nasabi ko kanina, ang foregrounding ay isang literary technique para madraw yung attention ng mambabasa sa isang specific part ng nobela, maikling kwento, tula, or iba pa. Halimbawa, dun sa literary text meron na nakasulat na I'll only and I mean only forgive her when she apologized. So, ang papasok sa isip ng mambabasa is okay. That's the only way para mag-work out or para maayos yung something na nangyayari dun sa text. So, yun nga. It is because foregrounding is designed for purposes so that the readers will be able to have a deeper perspectives about the symbol, language, or important features na nag-stand out dun sa. So, para mas madali nating maintindihan kung ano nga ba ang foregrounding theory, ganito. Isipin nyo po na merong bahay sa gitna ng kagubatan. Kung tatanungin ko po kayo kung ano nga ba ang pinaka-appropriate, pinaka-tama, or pinaka-angkop na title para sa image na yon, ano nga ba yon? Ito ba yon yung letter A, yung a forest with a house in it, or yung letter B na a house in a forest? So, ang tamang sagot po doon is yung letter B, yung a house in a forest. Bakit? Kasi nga, ano ba yung sa picture na pinapa-imagine ko sa inyo? Di ba yung house? So, yun, yung house doon is the foreground, which means the most salient or yung mas kapansin-pansin. And the other reason is that the word house is the most prominent in the noun phrase, a house in a forest. Yun lang po.
Two main types of foregrounding, the parallelism or grammar and deviation. Parallelism can be described as unexpected regularity, while deviation can be seen as unexpected irregularity. In English grammar, parallelism is the two or more elements of a sentence or a series of a sentence having the same grammatical structure. It means that using the same pattern of words to show that two or more words or ideas are of equal importance. Parallelism is the words and phrases within a sentence should not only match in structure but also in tense. Writers use parallel structure to add clarity to the writing, make it easier to understand, and show that the writing is structural and grammatically correct. Sa parallelism, dapat ay marunong tayong mag-analyze at alam natin kung ano yung basic or thing being inferred within the totality of the sentence. At sa parallelism, ang concept na ating ibibigay ay dapat ay tugma or same idea at merong same structure with equal importance. Sa parallelism din, pumapasok yung kung paano magamit yung common sense at kung paano tayo mag-analyze ng isang sentence or context. For example, he loves singing, dancing, and to eat. Sa sentence na he loves singing, dancing, and to eat, ang verb na ginagamit ay pareho nagtatapos sa ing. Ngunit, ang singing and dancing lang ang merong nagtatapos sa ing. Kaya dapat para sila ng verb na ginagamit. Kaya, he loves singing, dancing, and to eat becomes he loves singing, dancing, and to eating. At para mas madali nating ma-analyze ang isang sentence, we need to find the coordinating conjunctions, which is the for, and, nor, but, or yet, and etc. Another example of parallelism is Dickens' famous opening lines from A Tale of Two Cities. He uses parallelism or the repetition of the same structure within a line, and in order to make the opening memorable. For example, it was the best of times. It was the worst of times. The second types of foregrounding is the deviation. Deviation involves the breaking the normal conventions of language in order to create a jarring or unexpected effect. This can be achieved through a variety of techniques such as using unusual word choices or syntax, or by creating unexpected associations between words or ideas. Deviation can be used to create a sense of surprise or to draw attention to a particular aspect of the text that might otherwise go unnoticed. For example, this sentence, the river flowed backwards. This deviation from the normal directions of flow creates a vivid image and draw attention to the unusual nature of the situations. According to Richards and Platt, deviation is a term used to describe spelling and pronunciations of a word or a sentence structure which does not conform to a norm. Example of deviation is that most people are taught that it is rude to pick their nose, and indeed, this social rule is so strong that nose picking is rarely seen in public gatherings. But you do sometimes see car drivers doing it. This will count as unusual or marked behavior for you, and they make you offended or amused.
Hi everyone, especially to you, madam. Now, in this part of the report, we're going to be discussing to you the analysis that we have conducted entitled Linguistic Stylistics, a linguistic analysis of Shakespeare's Sonnet 18 using the foregrounding theory. In this part of the paper, the presenters will be demonstrating the use and application of foregrounding theory in analyzing a literary piece. In stylistics, there are several parts or ways how to conduct a literary investigation. One of these ways is linguistic stylistics. In linguistic stylistics, it is used to investigate and to further analyze the linguistic features, organizations, and the text itself on how words, phrases, and sentences function in a certain style that the writer intends to express himself. According to Nelity 2017, in their article, they discuss that conducting linguistic analysis as a form of linguistic study play an important role when it comes to the understanding of a particular literary text. Moreover, the conduct of such allows us to have an in-depth knowledge how a certain style in both written and oral discourse is delivered to further reach the target audience. In addition to this, it demonstrates how the interpretation of meaning could be influenced by the way how we organized and structure the use of words and incorporation of literary devices that are believed to be relevant in making the message be delivered in a particular context. The theory being used in the analysis. In this part of the analysis, the presenters believe that the best and appropriate theory to be applied in this particular stylistic analysis is foregrounding theory. Now, maybe we have discussed so many theories for the past days, but what is foregrounding theory? What sets it apart from any other theories out there in the fields of linguistics? Now, at this point, I am gonna be giving to you the definition of foregrounding theory as well as its application in conducting linguistic analysis. According to Nordquist R. 2020, he discusses that in linguistics, especially in the field of stylistics, foregrounding is a linguistic strategy of getting the attention of the reader and giving focus or highlights to a particular point in a story. He added that in systematic functional linguistics, foregrounding pertains to the way how a writer gives focus to the certain part of a literary text that contributes to the construction and interpretation of meaning. Under the foregrounding theory, there are two main aspects in foregrounding. First one is the qualitative aspect. The second one is the quantitative aspect. Under the qualitative aspect, this pertains to the linguistic deviation that was just, discussed earlier by one of my group mates. So I'm hoping that you have already some background about this concept. The second one is the quantitative aspect. Now, the quantitative aspect deals with the concept of parallelism or the introduction to parallelism, which is all about the agreement and the repetition of series of words in a sentence or the use of grammatical elements to emphasize similar ideas. Analysis of literary piece. In this part, the presenters will be analyzing Sonnet 18 by William Shakespeare. Now, as you can see here, we have provided the actual excerpt or the actual poem, Sonnet 18, written by William Shakespeare. Allow me to read it to you so that you can definitely feel the message of the poem. Now, Sonnet 18 by William Shakespeare. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day, thou art more lovely and more temperate? Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease halt, all too short a date. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shine, and often is his gold complexions dimed, and every fair from fair sometimes declined by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But the eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. Now, in this analysis, it is actually composed of 3 points or three major analyses that we have found out while conducting linguistic stylistics analysis. Now, the first one is, of course, the analysis number one. Analysis number one, the author used a formal language and uses a linguistic devices to further establish the atmosphere that is being depicted in the text. So, as I am reading the text, we can feel that the author used a different kinds of register. He used like a deep one or an old version of languages, maybe because the actual poem was written back, way back. So maybe that's the reason why it sounds so formal and it sounds so a little bit old fashioned. So it is, somehow it becomes its style being old fashioned, and it is cool. We found it cool. And then the second one is the analysis number two. The author uses figurative languages to give highlights to the message of the poem, such as the use of imagery, metaphor, and personification. Now, moving on. The author, analysis number three. The author uses a form of a stylistic strategy, the use of parallelism. For example, in these lines in the poems, Shakespeare applied parallelism to give focus to the image that he is portraying in the poem. Now, as you can see here, the italicized words, or especially the highlighted one, the color red word, so, and summer's lease, hot, all too short a date. Sometime too hot, the eye of heaven shines, and often is his good complexion deemed, and every fair from fair sometime declines. So, the word end is used 3 times, and it is followed by the series of adverbs. The use of conjunctions of but and nor that are being used to show contrast in the sentence, hence giving focus to the image being portrayed. And lastly, the use of adjectival phrase so long that further describes the duration of a time that a man can live. So, in this example, we can see how parallelism is applied by the repetition and the agreement of similar words that possess similar meanings. This is a good strategic, or this is a good style in expressing message or expressing ourselves, because it not only just catches the attention of the reader, but at the same time it further gives like a mystique or like a mystery in the passage that we are actually reading. So it's a good style to use in any kind of literary works. As a conclusion, foregrounding theory is used to analyze a certain text and to establish the intended meaning. Moreover, to further give highlight to the details and important part of the story or any literary works, especially to the delivery of the intended meaning. Lastly, foregrounding theory is helpful and significant when it comes to the interpretation of meaning in any literary works, both in oral and written discourses. So, yeah, that's what wraps up our presentation about the analysis or conducting an analysis under the stylistic linguistic or linguistic stylistic using the foregrounding theory. So I'm hoping that you were able to learn something new with these presentations. And yeah, that's it. And thank you for listening.